Everybody, and welcome to Chef AJ Live. I'm your host, Chef AJ, and this is where I introduce you to amazing people like you who are doing great things in the world that I think you should know about. And today I'm so excited to have a guest back who has a brand new book coming out next week. I believe the date is Tuesday, October 13th. The book is called Healthy at Last. This is Eric Adams. He has a remarkable story of healing, and he's going to tell you all about it in his new book. And I'm going to give you the link so that you can pre-order it. Please welcome back to the show, Eric Adams. Thank you so much for being here, and congratulations. Did you ever think that when you were diagnosed, you were going to be writing a book about it?
No, not at all. First, let me say there's something cool about having a name that's initials. I need to do something. I need to do Eric EA or something. No, I didn't, Chef. And in fact, I think all of us go through periods that are dark moments. And sometimes we think those dark moments are burials when in fact they're plantings. And I believe my diagnosis of diabetes was a plantain, and this is the fruit of the harvest of that plantain, and I'm hoping other people can feed off it. So it is really just looking at painful moments and turning them into purposeful moments, and that's what this book is.
All right. You know, I have lost sound. Just give me 1 second to get it back because they can just
I
can you unplug me,
can
please?
hear you.
Hi. Are you there?
Yes, and I can hear you.
Sorry, I personally lost sound, but I love that you're using, you're using it for good, and look at all the people you're
Yes.
helping with it.
And we are really excited about that. And I'm hoping that my book is a way for people to just see in a very comfortable setting. I'm hoping it's a conversation, not talking down to people or not speaking, at a technical term that people can't understand. I wrote the book so that an everyday person could understand the history of food and how to really cycle themselves out of chronic diseases, which is not sustainable in this country.
Absolutely. I love how the subtitle is A Plant-Based Approach to Preventing and Reversing Diabetes and Other Chronic Illnesses, and it shows you eating a delicious, healthy meal.
Yes, and that was a great meal too. When we took that photo, I couldn't wait to dig into the meal because it was really good. It's a plant-based meal. And you know what it also does? It shows people that eating healthy does not mean it's unattractive and untasty. It is showing that you could have a tasteful diet that's filled with great spices, great tasting food. And, food, as I say, should look good, be good for you, but darn it, it should taste good because that is how we encourage ourselves to continue a real healthy lifestyle.
Well, you've got a lot of recipes in the book and delicious ones, and some of them are some of your favorite.
Yes, yes, so true. There are a number of recipes in the book because I want to give people the foundation of eating a healthy meal and seeing how easy it is to make it, like the easy chocolate truffles. That's a great recipe that I love. No baked sweet potato bars with raw gingerbread crust. Just amazing how good it is. And we want to show people how you can satisfy your salty taste, your sweet taste, the feeling of the different ways our palate enjoy food. Like one of my favorite is the three ingredient ice cream. I used to eat expensive ice cream that was really unhealthy, filled with sugar and all sort of products. Now I do my three ingredients ice cream, and it's amazing.
And so you actually cook for yourself.
Never cooked before, but now I enjoy cooking. I find cooking now to be therapeutic. And what is more exciting than to know at the end of the meal you prepared, not only are you going to enjoy the taste, but I know when I eat those lentils, those grains, the beans, the kale, the broccoli, I know I'm actually nourishing my body and I'm reversing or staying off a chronic disease. I mean, that is, you talk about a win-win, that's a double win.
Why do you think it is, Eric, that most people don't think about what they eat until they get a disease? Because I know you didn't, I didn't. It just seems that's human nature.
And it's unfair to really point the finger at individuals and not the society we live in. We don't focus on food for health. We focus on food for taste. And it's unfortunate that we live to eat and not eat to live. And that is why some of the things we're doing, as I mentioned in the book, Healthy at Last, how we're doing things in schools to really start changing the culture of our young people. How do you take control of growing healthy food in schools, partnering with your local community-based organizations so that our young people can start changing the narrative about a healthy food and how they can learn how to cook healthy food, the power of spices, as we listed some of the large number of spices in our books, in the book, on the power of the healing power from our spices. And so really we have been taught incorrectly, and we have basically just continued the tradition of food should only taste good and not be good for you.
But you can have both because once your palate adjusts, the healthy food tastes just as good, if not better.
Yeah, but I think better. Now my taste buds are alive. I am not filling my taste buds with an oversaturation of salt, fat, oil, sugar. Really, we do a number on our taste buds. But a friend of mine, as I mentioned in the book, friend of mine is a pastry chef. When he was in France, and then he came here to New York to start his practice. And he says, Eric, I have to put almost twice as much sugar in my products because New Yorkers' taste buds is in needs of so much sugar.
You mentioned about kids learning this stuff. I remember when I was in seventh grade, which was 1971, we had a class called Home Economics, and half of it was teaching us to cook and half of it was teaching us to sew. And then that was the last year. They got rid of it, at least in the California school system. And I think that would be really important for kids to learn these kind of things.
Big mistake we've made in our school of taking away home economics. We focus so much on academics that we don't understand it's about developing the full personhood of children and giving them the tools and skills that they can use to have a well-rounded life. Teaching home economics and then introducing a nutritional based instruction to home economics we will be giving our children a skill that they can use throughout their entire lives to really stop disease and not following the same pathway. When you look at the numbers nationally, that 70% of 12-year-olds have early signs of heart disease, which is our number one killer, and is really tied to the food that we're eating, as many of our expert doctors are now showing us that not only can we prevent some of the diseases we are experiencing, but we can actually, excuse me, reverse some of the chronic diseases. And it starts in the classroom, I believe.
Well, the recipes in this book sound great. The one that really intrigues me are the spicy quinoa meatballs. Those sound amazing.
Yes, yes, they are. And when you taste those meatballs, you won't know it's not made out of beef. You get the same feel, the same texture, and the joy of it, it's healthy.
That is so cool. Well, you've definitely got some fans watching today. Let me read some of the very nice comments from Maya. Eric Adams, I'm headed to purchase your book. Thank you for all that you do. Saw you speak at last year's Lifestyle Medicine Conference, and you were so motivational. Sherry says, I love Eric Adams and his story and how he has such an impact on others. And so, yeah, Denny says, I'm looking forward to the book, and I'll keep posting the link and also put it in the show notes. So are you excited to have a book come out and be an author?
I am, and I'm even more excited to where the proceeds are going. We are not taking any money from the book. The proceeds are going to start health ministries throughout the entire city so that we can show people how to have a healthy lifestyle. I was blessed to be able to reverse my vision loss, the nerve damage that could lead to amputation, the ulcer, the high blood pressure, the high cholesterol. And since I was given almost a new lease on life, I want to now return that gift to others. My hope, AJ, is to have this book delivered to families and friends that they may not read it right away. They may read it after coming home from the doctors and after they receive a terrible diagnosis. They may be sitting inside a doctor's waiting room and waiting for a bad test result, and they may see this book on the coffee table and start flipping through it. They may be on their shelf somewhere, on their bookshelf, and after being told of a loved one that's going through a terrible chronic disease, they may say, wait a minute, let me look at that book that Eric Adams was talking about. So it's my goal to give this book as one of the tools that you can use as a family member or as someone that has a loved one that's going through a chronic disease, or if people are going through a chronic disease, how they can see there's a pathway forward. The person they want to be is very much present in them. And I want people to know it doesn't matter if they're 8 or 80, like my mother, who was dealing with diabetes on insulin for 7 years and diabetic type 2 for 15 years. She went plant-based, and in 2 months, she cycled off her insulin. I think everyone has a family member that's going through a chronic disease, and this book can show them how to empower themselves to deal with it.
That's wonderful. And I had no idea you were giving the proceeds to charity. I'll make sure to make a point of that in the show notes. Now I doubly want to get more copies. That's really very, very generous of you. And I noticed it was the forward is by Kim Williams.
Yes, yes. I truly enjoy Kim, extremely smart, innovative, a forward thinker. When you hear the depth of his knowledge, I had him here at Brooklyn Borough Hall to speak with the cardiologists here in New York and to share with them how we can think differently about dealing with heart disease. And they were extremely excited about his presentation. And many of them had no idea that you can actually reverse some of the heart disease that clogs arteries. There are ways to reverse it. The work of Dr. Kim Williams, Dr. Esselstyn, and others are showing our bodies will heal. All we have to do is get out of its way and allow the body to heal.
That's so true. You know, and you mentioned children, and I bet a lot of people think, well, you know, they're kids, they don't have these diseases. But yesterday, when I interviewed Dr. Robert Oswald, he said something like, I believe it was 65% of kids under the age of 10 already have coronary artery disease.
Yes, and it's so true. Remember, our children are not only eating bad food, but they're living stationary lives. They're in a sitting position all the time. We've really cut back on recreation in our schools, after school programs. And so they're more likely to receive these diseases at a younger age than what our parents or what you and I. I was over 50 when I started experiencing the complications from advanced diabetes. But childhood diabetes is real, childhood obesity, childhood asthma, many of the diseases that were relegated to older adults are finding its way into our schools with younger children. That's why we must be forward thinking to turn around the problems of chronic diseases.
Do you ever speak at schools?
All the time. I'm invited all the time to speak with our young people. These young scholars are ready. They're talking about changing the food inside their cafeterias, inside their schools. We have a vegetarian menu here in New York. We also have something called Meatless Mondays to start introducing students in schools to have a healthier meal. So our goal is really to empower young people to know that they can eat a healthier lifestyle.
That is great. Are you actually going to like go on tour with this book? And do you have like a whole speaking agenda planned?
Yes, yes. Anytime you get a new book out, you're out the door, speaking to as many people as possible. But the joy is also having people like you, to be able to speak with your audience. It allows us to do things in a social distancing way during COVID-19. When we talk about, as I allude to in the book, when we talk about pre-existing conditions, comorbidities, those are all diet-related diseases. And as we fight to deal with COVID-19 and the possibility that we will have a reemergence, to know that we don't have to just sit back and have a weakening immune system. We can strengthen our immune system by eating the right food. We want to get that information out, and face-to-face talks about the book, as well as doing things like this, speaking on your Instagram Live and podcasts and other radio stations. It has been extremely helpful in getting the message out.
Well, we hope to get as many people buying this book as possible. Did you enjoy writing it? I know for me, my third book came out on Monday, and I never really enjoyed the process very much.
You know, it takes a lot of time because you want to give people good information. I enjoyed the thought of seeing the finished product that I was going to be able to place in the hands of Americans, something that would make them feel empowered. A chronic disease hijacks your life. It takes away who you are. You no longer are yourself. You think about it all the time. The productivity is different. And I wanted to tell Americans that no matter where you are, there's an opportunity to have a real soothing conversation of not saying, woe is me, but why not me? And that gave me the motivation and excitement that one day someone is going to pick up this book and it's going to change their life the way the information changed mine.
Yeah. Question from Kathleen. What does the wall hanging behind Eric say or mean?
It is Chinese writing. I love Chinese calligraphy. You know, I don't know the exact meaning of this piece, but the person who did it for me said he was going to do something to symbol peace and tranquility. And so is the artist put it together for me. So I know it came in the spirit of peace and tranquility.
Nice. Well, you seem very tranquil, Eric. Laura says, are all the recipes oil-free? I'm going to support him in the book either way.
No, they all aren't oil-free. Many of them are. I am an oil-free person in how I cook, but we do not require, some of the recipes may have a little oil, but it's not saturated with oil. And people can look at them and then modify the recipe to fit their palate. That's the beauty of plant-based. You don't have to use the exact ingredients the exact same way, but it does give you a foundation of how to prepare your meals, and you could look through them and decide on your own. You could use flaxseed instead of oil. You can use different products to get what you're looking for, applesauce for the moistness of your food. So there are ways to modify these meals that you can fit your exact taste buds.
Well, you have some top-notch chefs that contributed recipes like Charity Morgan.
Yes, I was really excited. And also Paul McCarthy is a contributor. Several people contributed meals. And I wanted to show the wide range of people who are eating healthy and different lifestyles. I don't want people to believe this is something that only people who could afford to have a chef can make. Everyday people can make everyday meals that are inexpensive by looking at the healthy products in their local stores.
I love how you talk about don't confuse vegan with healthy.
So true, because oftentimes people think about veganism is automatically healthy. Being a vegan is a noble activity to deal with animal abuse, but having a healthy diet is eating the right food, and the closer you are to a plant-based diet, the closer you are to a healthy diet. You know, you can eat Oreo cookies and Coca-Cola if you're a vegan. That doesn't mean it's healthy, and people need to understand the difference between the types of food, because sometimes we get caught up on labels and not caught up on what's the right things that we should be doing.
I love there's a lot of humor in the book, and one of the chapter headings is don't feel like you have to go cold Tofurky unless you really want to.
Yes, you know, some people think, I remember the first week for me of going plant-based, at the end of the week, that Sunday, I just really felt almost defeated. And I had a conversation with myself and I said, Eric, instead of woe is me, why don't you say, why not me? Instead of looking at all the foods you can't eat because they're unhealthy, let's look at all of the foods that are out there that you never tried. You and I both know that the average person only have about 6 or 7 meals that they cycle over and over again. You know, a hamburger, pizza, these different spaghetti and meatballs. But if once I entered the plant-based realm, I started exploring all of these new vegetables and fruit that I started to really see that there's an entire diet out there that I can enjoy that is not the same things. And with that, I embrace the spirit of now let's learn how to cook. Let's learn to explore other meals. Let's learn how to enjoy the full scope of food all over the globe that is can be healthy and enjoyable and tasty at the same time.
Mhm. Yeah, I love this quote in your book from Winston Churchill. The pessimist sees difficulty in every opportunity. The optimist sees opportunity in every difficulty, because you have a little chapter heading, never beat yourself up. And you
Yes.
did that.
Yes, and that's what it was about. I ended the week, that first week, being a pessimist. I looked at all of the things I couldn't do instead of looking at all the things that were possible to start doing. And it was the changing of my view. I had to merely change how I was viewing my experience. I changed it from the negative to the positive. And those are some of the things we point out in the book. Part of being healthy is also having a healthy mindset and seeing that it's not only your physical body, but it's the anatomy of your spirit and of your existence. It's a yin and yang approach, finding peace and tranquility, as well as in eating enjoyable, healthy foods. It's the perfect balance that we need to be the parents we want to be, the spouse that we want to be, the child, the father. All those things we want to be starts, I believe, in how we put the right fuel in our body, and that fuel is good food.
Yeah. One of your chapters talks about make your kitchen a smart kitchen. What do you mean by that?
By having the right things in your kitchen, the right tools like my NutriBullet, making sure that you have the right tools you need to prepare your meals, my Ninja, having the right spices that are available, having the right, take away all of the processed salt and processed sugar, placing the right items in your kitchen that is going to encourage and allow you to prepare the meals that you need. Because part of the goal, chef, is preparation. We find ourselves rushing all the time. And when you rush all the time, you find yourself doing the wrong thing. So if you create a kitchen that really supports a healthy lifestyle, you won't always find yourself leaning or moving towards the things that will have you go back to bad habits. And you know what? You can't eat a jelly donut if you don't buy a jelly donut. You can't eat, you can't drink Coca-Cola if you don't buy a Coca-Cola. So don't put these items in your homes. Learn how to drink seltzer and squeeze lemon instead, or some of the new products that come with no sugar, no additives, that allow you to make your own drinks out of using seltzer. So there's so many opportunities you have, and by making your kitchen smarter, you could accomplish your task in an easier way.
Yeah. Or I don't know if you ever tried this, Eric, a little bit of a good quality balsamic vinegar in seltzer water. You have an Italian soda.
No, I'm going to try that today. Thank you
Well,
for that.
actually, I don't know if the last time you were on, we sent you some vinegars, but Thomas Allen from California Balsamic's watching, and you're definitely going to get 2 free samples. So you can make a peach soda, you can make a strawberry soda, raspberry.
Love it.
I wouldn't recommend the jalapeno though. That's not so great. Not so great in a soda. So in your book, you say, forget about protein. Well, how can we forget about protein?
Because there's so many ways to get protein, and we overemphasize on protein. It's very rare if a person is going to be protein deficient. And when you look at the ways you can get protein from beans and other products on a plant-based, you would get a lot of protein. You don't have people in this country that's protein deficient. And we want to show, don't focus on measuring out all of these different foods. Trust me, if you have a whole food plant-based diet, you're going to get all the nutrients you need. The only nutrient that any expert would tell you is to make sure you get your B12, because B12, the reason it comes from animals is because they eat the dirt and when they're eating the grass or the other products. But you could do a B12 supplement and you have a complete balanced diet.
Great. April says, what is Eric's favorite meal?
Oh, I have two types. One is my go-to meal when I'm in a rush or I'm trying to get my day to be prepared for a meeting or something. And it's a great soup that I make out of lentils. I liquefy the lentils. I put pasta inside and I create with a lot of vegetables and other products. And then one of the favorite meals is in the book. It's the overnight chia oats with berries. I love that. You put it in your fridge. You can put a couple of jars in your fridge and you don't have to worry about it. It cooks overnight and you're able to really enjoy it. And I have my late night 3 ingredients ice cream is another favorite of mine because I enjoy a good sweet tasting meal. And every day I do a smoothie made out of superfoods and made out of kale, berries, and a couple of superfood powders. And it really just gives me the energy for the rest of the day.
That is great. By any chance, do you ever cook with an Instant Pot?
Yes, I do. I find it very helpful. You know, I do my oatmeal often in the Instant Pot. I do my beans in the Instant Pot, my chickpeas, my black beans. I find Instant Pots to be extremely helpful and fast.
Yeah, I love them too. Yes. So you're the president of the Brooklyn Borough. What does that mean? What do you do?
For those outside the city, I am equivalent to what they call a county executive. We have in New York City, we have 5 counties. Brooklyn is the largest of the 5 counties, extremely diverse. We have 2.6 million people. If we were a separate city, we would be the 3rd largest city in America. We just overtook Chicago. And my job is to make sure all of the agencies in the city provide the appropriate services for the people of the borough of Brooklyn, the county of Brooklyn. And we also give out what's called capital dollars for capital projects to build different things. And we're in charge or play a role in the land use process. If someone wants to build in the county, it goes through our office to make sure they are following the right rules and giving back the right trade-offs to the city. But most important, my role is to make sure all of our agencies are giving our residents the things that they need so that they can provide for their children and families. And I am the voice of my constituents in the largest city and state government.
It sounds like this is what they need.
Yes, healthy at last. It's a playoff for Dr. King's speech, Free at Last, and a great song that that's known in the African American community called At Last. A woman found her love and got married. I'm hoping that people find a love inside themselves. We all have someone we love very much inside ourselves. And throughout life, we tend to abuse the person that we love inside ourselves. Here's a way to say, at last, we found that love again.
That's beautiful. Cheryl says, how receptive do you find the community that you serve to this way of eating?
It's amazing when you think about the level of receptivity, particularly when they see my personal story and personal journey. So many people believe that they had to give up on life, that they were dealt a terrible hand, and the life that they're living was already programmed in their DNA. As I said with my mom and I, that it was never my DNA, it was the dinner. And we knew by changing those dinners and lunch and breakfast, we were able to change the direction of life. Instead of having a lifetime of medicine, potentially blindness, a limb amputation, kidney failure, heart disease, we were able to turn it around, and people are ready to heal. And the more and more they see the possibilities that they could heal, the more receptive they have been. And we have been extremely excited by the way people have responded to not only the book, but the entire conversation of lifestyle medicine and living a healthier life.
I love that. Change your dinner, not your DNA. I love the little quotes that are in the different chapters, like this one: there is no greater force for change than when a community discovers what it cares about. You say in the book to find a spiritual practice. That's a little something different than you don't see in every plant-based book.
Yes, because it's holistic. What's the use of being physically healthy and not mentally healthy? I believe it's a balance. We have to recenter ourselves. And the way we recenter ourselves to be in accordance to a universal principle that all of us must be healthy. Not only must we eat right and consume the right food, we must consume the right spiritual growth. And that doesn't mean going to a church or synagogue or a mosque or temple, but it means finding a place where you can find the peace and harmony that the universe has to offer. The universe gives us the right food to consume, and it also gives us the right spirits to consume, and our mental stability in the process.
Well, that is beautiful. I know you've got like a gazillion interviews to do, so I have to let you go. So other than buying this book, where all the proceeds go to charity, and I'll keep posting the link, is there anything else you want people to know?
Now, just tell them to believe in themselves, believe in the person that they know they could become. It doesn't matter if you are older in life and you're experiencing a chronic disease, just believe. You are the person you want to be. Find that person again and give them an opportunity to come to the forefront. Believe.
Thank you so much, Eric,
Thank
and
you.
best of luck with this book. I want to see it just climb the top.
Thank you, Chef AJ. Be well.
Bye.